Joining us on the Mixed Morning Show once again, and it's been way too long, our good friend Chris Funk, the Wonderist. Hello, Chris.
Hello. How you
Oh,
doing?
I am doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I am amazing. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Absolutely. It's been a long time since we had you in studio doing the Wonder Wednesdays when you do those tricks
Yeah,
and just wow
man.
us all and make us just scratch our head far too early in the morning to try to figure out how you did that.
That was such a long time ago. What is that? That's like 7 years ago now at this
Oh,
point
yeah.
in time.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. That was a challenge that I love doing, but I regretted ever deciding to do. And no one challenged me. I just decided to do it myself. A weekly video that actually had like substance and people and a theme to it. And man, that was a challenge.
Yeah. How to
Definitely a
keep that
challenge. So,
fresh and going every week was
oh,
hey, I mean, but challenges stretch us. So you got
yep.
quite a backdrop there behind you. Where are we
Yes.
catching you?
We are coming from my home studio, also known as my office, just in my basement of my place. Yeah, behind the curtain here, I'll give you a little sneak peek. This is actually my working desk, and you
Okay.
can see one of my guitars hanging there as well.
Not everybody
So,
gets to see behind the curtain.
nope, they don't.
No.
Just you guys. So that's my studio here. It'll all just open up, and it's my office where I can get some work done.
So where's home for you now?
I kind of go between two places. I've got a place in Chilliwack, BC, and obviously Winnipeg, my old stomping ground. So I'm back and forth quite a bit between BC and Winnipeg. Still have a lot of gigs in the Manitoba, Saskatchewan area. So
Yeah.
yeah, traveling back and forth. I mean, not as much during the pandemic, but they're starting to come back right now, which is a great thing. But prior to that, I was back and forth probably bi-weekly. So.
So what did you do during the pandemic? The thing is, as a performer, it kind of shut all performers' worlds down pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
How did you get through that? What did you do?
Well, I spent the first month crying and grieving. Literally playing a
Yeah.
lot of video games, just wondering, what am I doing with my life now? And it's funny because my wife just kind of let me do that for a short period because she knew that I had been on the road like crazy prior to that. I did a 23 show tour going out to Montreal, then Ottawa, and then a cruise ship with Disney performing. And then I came home literally days before the shutdown. So I needed a little bit of rest. So I took a month to do that. But my manager contacted me one day. He sent me a link. He said, here's a virtual show. You're going to do these. I said, there's no way I'm doing a virtual show. I am a live entertainer. I work with my audience. How am I going to perform for a camera and a monitor? How's that going to work? He's like, well, I don't know. You got to figure it out because you have one in 3 weeks. So
Oh,
I had
wow.
I had 3 weeks to figure out what to do. But luckily, I had all the gear because my live show is a very multimedia heavy show. So I knew what to do. I just had to find the avenue on how to do it and how to adjust my show. So yeah, I did my first one. It sucked. Luckily, it was a friend who had a company who hired me, and it was a good deal, and it got me through my jitters of just what it's going to be like. And then since then, I've done about 130 virtual shows for people all over the world. I've been up at 3:30 in the morning performing for people in Scotland, um, South Africa. Like it's just been crazy being able to do it here. So that's what I've been doing, virtual shows, and then the odd little TV gig that I can get here and there,
Yeah.
traveling out. So
Well, I watched one of your virtual shows, and I like to, as a performer, to have to imagine audience's reaction, right?
yeah,
Because when you have the audience there and you ba 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 and wham, and they're like, oh, and you have to imagine that gasp.
totally. You totally have to imagine it. Now, that's funny that you say that because I feel that that's one of the big differentiators between a professional and an amateur because right now the playing field seems very even in the virtual world. Um, I mean, when I'm performing in an auditorium, you know what it's like where the audience is black typically, unless you have the house lights up. It's pretty dark, so you can't really see your audience. So the reaction part, seeing my audience, was never really a big thing. It was more the interacting and the response. Well, I realized that the response or the clapping or the moments of wow, I actually don't need to hear those either because I know the points in my show that actually hit. So I went through everything and I got used to not hearing anything, creating my own energy to give to everybody. And when I figured that part out, my show just became seamless. The reaction that we've been getting from all of the corporate clients that we have has been phenomenal. And we have repeat clients now just coming back and again and again and again and again because I've just kind of learned how to handle it. So I got over that hump, not right away, but I got over the hump just realizing I'm a pro. I've been doing this a long time, and I have to start leaning more on my ability than my thoughts about my
Mm,
ability. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, recently you've been doing a lot of television as well, Masters of Illusion.
yeah,
Uh, now you've done several appearances on Masters of Illusion, haven't you?
yeah. I think 5 seasons now. I've be kind of become one of their favorites to bring down from Canada, just because I do things differently. You know, I incorporate live music into the show, so I'm constantly pushing that envelope. I've got some new bits too that I think you're gonna love when you see them. But yeah, Masters of Illusion, they've been calling me down. Just filmed there in March. That stuff is not actually airing this year because in order to hit the CW network's deadline, they would have had to film in January, but we couldn't film in
Right.
January. Nothing was filming. So we filmed end of March, and it looks like that's going to start airing in the new year. So they're just doing reruns right now. And they're also going to rerun the Christmas special that I did a fun little bit on as well, November 26th. So take
Very
a look for
cool.
that little plug.
Very cool. I love that. Yeah, we'll be watching for that. Now, recently I've been seeing this clip that's been going around of you on the Huckabee Show. Now, I'm not very familiar with the Huckabee Show. I understand that he's a former governor,
Mhm.
so a political talk show mostly. And then they said, "Hey, let's have some magic."
Yeah,
What?
it's basically like the Tonight Show type of concept. So it's a host walks out, does some interacting with the audience, some jokes, some news, and then they have guests. His guests mostly pertain to political views
Right.
or Christian views. He was a pastor before he became a governor. So he's very strong in his belief. Very, 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 very right wing, like tip of the right wing. That's how
Okay.
very it is. So it took a little bit of getting used to for me because I first of all don't even know much about the U.S. political system as far as belief systems go on either side. But yeah, it was interesting hearing the opening remarks, and if you watch the video of the episode I was on, you'll know why. Um, but yeah, he tells jokes and then he has entertainers on, artists, musicians, magicians, jugglers, you name it. He just loves bringing in entertainers. And so you get a feature spot. Sometimes you do an interview, sometimes you just have a longer feature spot, but it was
Yeah.
a blast.
Well, we're gonna have to share that video as well, so people can see that trick you did
Hmm.
with your little drum beats and your bass line, and then playing the guitar. First of all, you're fantastic on guitar.
Thank you.
Playing that guitar and then having that loop and the sliding. I won't ruin the whole bit, but I mean that was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that bit. Very proud of that when I figured out finally how to do it.
You did it well. And then right at the end, the one guy from the band is like, "Plug it in and try it again."
Yeah.
You had planned on doing that anyway, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it just I don't know. You'll have
Maybe.
to decide on that.
Yeah, check out the video. We'll share it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I was thrilled to hear that you made an appearance on one of my favorite shows, Hell's Kitchen.
Yes, I did.
What was that like to be on Hell's Kitchen?
It was fantastic. It was a really cool experience. The set was awesome. They really took care. I love when a TV show really takes care of the artists and the talent and the people that are coming in. I've been on some TV shows where they don't, and it's like I don't think I'm ever going to want to do that again, just because of the challenge that that can create. But we showed up there. It was with me and my buddy Murray Sawchuk out of Vegas, and two others. And we walked in there. We were treated well right off the bat. We got seated as guest diners. They asked us to do a little bit of magic. So we're sitting there very close to where that bar is, where the kitchen's right on the other side. We're
Yes.
sitting very, very close to that. So we could see Chef Ramsay just sitting there sharpening his knives. We could hear it clear as day, just kind of getting the B-roll footage. The food came out, which is fantastic. And then we all got to meet him afterwards, and we got to perform some magic for the maitre d' and for the other servers and guests that were around there. I don't think they aired it because obviously when it comes to television, they film this much, hoping that they can get that much meat, and I guess it just didn't make the cut. So you don't get to see any of the magic, but Gordon loved it, and I wish I could tell you what he said, but we would have to bleep it all out.
Oh, fair enough.
backstage, but he
Yes.
said it in like such a really positive, beautiful Chef Ramsay kind of way. So
Yes.
yeah.
Could you hear him yelling at his contestants?
No, so we were in closer to the end where there was only 4 or 5 people left. And so the
Okay.
yelling had stopped at that point in time. That's when they were getting down to like the nitty gritty, who's it gonna be type of a thing. So it's usually earlier, as you've seen in the show, it's usually earlier where they get rid of the riffraff and they're the ones that he yells at or calls an idiot sandwich, with 2 pieces of bread on either side of the head or something. So that happens usually earlier in the season, and they even explain that to us. You're not going to see any yelling today because it just doesn't happen at this point in the show.
This is what you're used to if you know you're going to be on that show. But
Yes,
yeah, wow, that is pretty
yes,
cool. That is
yeah.
pretty cool. So, what's on the horizon now for Chris Funk?
Wow. Well, I just came back from my first live show in 18 months, and it felt incredible. I did a show in South Dakota in Sioux Falls, and then I did 2 shows on the Celebrity Edge cruise ship out in the Caribbean, which was incredible. My opening video plays, I walk out on stage, I say my first few lines, and then I break character, and I'm like, "You're my first large audience in 18 months, and I can't tell you how thankful I am for this moment right now." And they lost it. I think they were thankful to be in public as well. Like it was just such a really cool moment to share with my audience. So that meant the world to me. What's next on the horizon is a very busy Christmas season coming up of virtual shows plus live shows. I know that some provinces can do live, so I'll be doing some live shows. And then hybrids, where it's a smaller live going to the folks who feel safer and more comfortable at home, so they get it streamed to their house.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that was fantastic. I think
yeah,
you really nailed it. When you're talking about entertainers needing the audience, but also
hmm,
the audience needing entertainers.
yeah,
Like as much as you've missed audiences have missed you,
yeah,
and it's a really cohesive relationship. Like we need each other. Like
yeah,
without the audience, we're just a bunch of silly people that just do weird things,
hmm.
and without the entertainers, people aren't entertained. So
There's no joy, there's no happiness. Let's be honest. Like, what do people go to for joy and happiness in their lives? They go to something that almost creates a dopamine hit in their brain, which could be reading a book, watching a movie. It could be hanging out with friends. That's all entertainment. And it's something that we've kind of been deprived of when it comes to the group setting. So,
yeah,
yeah,
fantastic. Chris
yeah.
Funk, miss you like crazy,
I
and
miss
can't
you too.
wait to catch your next show.
Cool. Let's do a quick little trick for everybody that's at home here. This is not going to make any sense for the people listening, but this is just to leave you with something here. I want you to watch very close to the playing card. Okay, just
Okay, I see
watch
it.
very close. Watch
Come
very
on.
close to the playing card, which is now a watch.
Yeah, that will not play well on radio, so you gotta watch the video to catch that.
Yes, yes,
Chris Funk, the wondrous.
yes.
You continue to wonder.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's so good to hear your voice and see your face. It's been too long. We should do this more often.
We will. All right.
Love it.
Take care, my friend.
Awesome. You too. Thanks.